this is basically, we're starting to use old skills again, but we're just using them based off of reading graphs at the same time. So we really need to make sure that we are paying attention, that we are asking questions when we don't understand, okay? But right now is not the time to stop giving our full effort. Right now is the time to get real serious and make sure that you're understanding so that when it comes to STAR, you don't feel panicky, okay? But I feel a lot of you are totally not trying as hard lately, and we need to fix that. Yes, ma'am.
If we don't pass STAR, do we have to stay in Sanskrit?
No, there's opportunities, but y'all are gonna pass because we're gonna pass because y'all are gonna be great if you don't start slacking off. Okay. But y'all have got to make sure y'all are really trying, because I feel like some of you have decided to not, like, you don't like what we're doing right now, so you're like, meh, whatever. We can't whatever right now.
And if you're in extracurriculars, guys, that's part of being in junior high. You've got to make time for your studies, make time for your sports, and get both done correctly.
And you can't do your extracurriculars without passing.
Right.
Okay. All right. So up here, it says make predictions about a population. So we said you're seeing probability again, all right, but it talks about surveys. So a survey, I know the blank is small. You can just kind of curve it out. A survey is a method of collecting information. The group being studied is the population. To save time and money, part of the group, called a sample, is surveyed. So think about it. When they offer you to sample something, it's a very small portion or small amount, right? So a sample survey, all right, is just surveying a very small part of a population, okay? It says selected at random or without preference. Representative of the population, which means it represents the diverse amount of people, okay, everybody, and it's large enough to provide accurate data. It's not going to be 100% accurate, right? When you're surveying a very small portion of people, but it should be large enough that it's going to be reasonably accurate, maybe off by just a tiny bit. All right, so for exercise 1 through 4, use the table and the following information. This is our table. A survey of students' favorite sports was taken from a random sample of students in a school. The results are shown in the table. So it says, what is the size of the sample? What do you think that means? What is the size of the sample? The total. Okay. I add those up. What do I get? $20. We have A plus 3 is 11, plus 5 is 16, plus 4 is 20. So I have 20 students. Okay, what is the probability that a student will prefer soccer? Okay, well, how many preferred soccer in my sample survey?
8.
Out of how many?
20.
There you go. Can that be reduced?
Yeah.
Okay, what can that be reduced to? To what? Okay. Now, for extra practice, we're going to write 2/5 as a decimal and a percent. How do I turn a fraction into a decimal? Bless you. Divide. Numerator divided by denominator. All right. Can't go into 2, so I put a 0. Now I can add my decimals. Well, how many times can 5 go into 20? 4. All right. So then it's 0.4. How do I turn a decimal into a percent? 2 times. So 1, 2. What do I do with that empty spot?
40.
Put a 0 and add what? Percent sign. Good. So those are my 3 answers. Okay, what is the probability that a student will prefer volleyball? Well, how many people voted volleyball? 5 out of? Can that be reduced? Yes. To what?
1/4.
Okay, we should be excited about fourths, because what are you supposed to think of when you see fourths? What are you supposed to think of? Quarters. If I have 1 quarter, how much money do I have? 25. These 3 are my answers.
That was kind of easy.
Yep. Okay, there are 550 students in this school. All right, so they did a sample survey from 20, but there are actually 550 students in the whole school. Predict how many students at the school prefer track and field. So somebody tell me how you think I would set this up. Any guesses? Hartley?
I think you would set up like a
Oh, beautiful. Proportion.
and then
Yes.
you put 500 students at the total, and then you put 20 at the part, and then over.
What are we looking at?
The track and field says
Track and field.
4 as our.
Yes, that's exactly it. Anytime you see this word predict, that needs to tell you I'm going to have to set up a proportion. Okay, this was my sample survey. Now I'm trying to predict how much out of 550 based off of this size. What do I do with proportions? How do I solve proportions? Cross multiply and divide. So I cross multiply. 2,200. What do I do with the 2,200? I divide by the number I have left over, right? Which is 20. Can I make this easier? Cross off a 0. Okay, 2 can go into 2 once, can go into 2 once, and then I bring that 0 up. So 110 students. So every way we have solved what it's asking us to look at, how have we done multiple times this year? Yes. Okay. The circle graph shows the result of a survey of teens and where they would prefer to spend a family vacation. Predict how many of 4,000 teens would prefer to go to an amusement park.
So first we add all of 4 times. Oh no, 1,000. Yeah.
What word is telling us how to solve?
Predict.
Predict. What did I say to do when we see predict?
Multiply.
No, proportion. Okay. Did it give me a total right here? No, it didn't give me a total out of how many were surveyed. All right. So what I would do here, it's still a proportion, but I'm doing the percent proportion. Okay. Since I don't know a part in total of how many were surveyed. All right. It wants to know how many would prefer to go to an amusement park. Well, what percentage of the people surveyed wanted to go to an amusement park? So I'd put 45 here. Okay. What is my total that I'm trying to figure out?
4,000.
Okay, so 4,000.
Oh, I got it.
That's my total.
So do you just do 45 times 4,000 divided by
Uh-huh. 45 times 4,000. That's a 0. Okay, so I have 180,000.
Yeah, add a decimal. What's your
Well, what do I do?
divide by
Divide by 100. So if I divide that by 100, take off 2 zeros, there's my answer. 1,800 teens. Not so bad? Not so bad? We sure? Y'all want to try to do number 6 on your own?
No.
Will, you're the one that just told me how to solve number 5. You got this. All right,
Fine.
try number 6. It's not bad math.
Okay.
Oh no, try it.
I don't get I don't get how you didn't set it up.
The same as this one.
I don't know what numbers.
What if it?
You put the percent on.
Is it gonna be like?
Like number 5. Exactly like number 5.
They're just a different number.
Just different numbers. What was it asking you to find?
Origin, visitors. I couldn't figure it.
I don't know if I did.
Whoa. I do not think I did right.
1 second.
No.
Yeah, I did right. Oh, my brain is bad.
Actually, go turn it in. I haven't gotten y'all's out of the thing yet. All right, we ready to go over it?
Sure.
Okay. So in 2000, about 29% of the foreign visitors to the U.S. were from Canada. If a particular hotel had 150,000 foreign guests in 1 year, how many would you predict were from Canada? Okay, so it gave me a percent. Since it gives me a percent, I have to set it up as the percent proportion. So my percent over 100, and then here is my total. It said 150,000 of them were foreigners. I'm trying to figure out how many would be from Canada. Okay,
Well,
so I cross multiply.
you would get
0, 0, 0, 0. 5. There's a bunch of zeros.
too many.
So then 5 times 2 is 10. 3. But it's not hard math.
Nope.
Lots of zeros.
Zero's the
5,
reason it was
3,
confusing, but it
4. Okay. So when I'm dividing by 100 and I have this many zeros, I just take off how many?
2.
2.
Here's your answer.
So my answer is 43,500. What was it asking me to find?
Origin visitors.
How many were from Canada?
Oh,
So Canadians. Out of my 150,000 foreign guests, 43,500 of them were Canadians.
Do you realize why she put it over 100? That's
Percent is always what? Out of 100. Always out of 100. That anytime I have the percent proportion, that 100 is always there.
Do you understand why she put it over 100?
Percent is always out of 100. Always.
I found a Canada. Someone gave me a Canada penny when I checked out of the store.
All right, Trey. Y'all stop being ugly to each other.
That number is never going to be another.
If you're doing the percent proportion, no. If you have percent, 100 is always underneath it. Always. All right, why do we think we're seeing these problems? Because we need extra help on these still. And that's okay, but that's why we're doing it. Now, these two are exactly the same ones that were on your review, which means the ones that were on your test are almost identical. Numbers were just a tiny bit different. Okay, volume. Y'all got the volume part of it down. How do you find the volume of a prism? All three numbers. So 10 times 10 times 5.6. Well, 10 times 10 is 100 times 5.6 would give me what? Okay, I multiply it times 1, and then I add my 2 zeros. I had 1 decimal. So 560. Inches what? Nope. Volume is cubed. Area is squared. Okay, surface area. Surface area means what? To find the area of every surface. So every shape that makes up this prism, I have to find the area of. Luckily, this is a square or a rectangle. How do I find the area of a square or a rectangle? Based on height. So if I'm looking at this shape, what two measurements would I multiply to find that area?
10 times 10.
10 times 10, which is what?
100.
Okay.
Times 2.
Is this side the exact same as the base?
Oh, yeah.
So that's 100 and 100, which makes what? So I have 200. Okay, now I'm going to do this side. What measurements would I multiply to find this side? Okay. So what is 5.6 times 10? Okay, 56. Now, what am I multiplying 56 by? How many sides do I have that are that?
2.
Okay, this one is the same. But what about the front and the back?
On different sides.
But do they have the same measurements? I'm going to have 10 and I'm going to have 5.6. So I have how many sides that have that same? 4. Okay, I add that together. 4 plus 0 is 4. 2 and 4. 424. Huh? No, volume and surface area do not go together at all. Two separate things.
On the 10 times 10. I thought
I know.
it was base times height. Right?
For what?
Yeah. You said 10 times 10.
Was for this base and this base for surface area. Oh, are you meaning on volume?
No.
Which one are you talking about? Surface area. I found the bases, which is 10 times 10.
That's not base times height.
But base times height and length times width are the same thing. Because if I tilted that image up, here's the base, here's the height. You see what I mean? It's the same thing. Okay. This one, it blew me away how many people got this one wrong. Because we talked about it a lot. Went over the answer a lot. Okay. What kind of angles are these? Vertical. What are vertical angles? Okay. Congruent. What does congruent mean? Equal. Same. Okay. A lot of people. Now, there were two answers to this question. Write and solve. Okay. If they are equal to each other, that would just mean to write my equation, I would put 4x plus 2 is equal to 150. That's my equation. A lot of people did this.
Well,
A lot of people. No, they're equal to each other. They don't add up to 180. When I'm saying a lot of people did that. What adds up to 180? Interior angles of a triangle. What else? A straight angle, which would mean this angle and this angle together would add up to 180. The vertical angles are congruent, which means they're just equal to one another. So So I have to figure out what x would be to make this equal 150. So how do I solve that?
4 plus 2. No. 4 divided by 150.
No, I have to do something else first.
2
So
minus
2
150.
Subtract 2.
Subtract 2.
So I get 148 equals 4x. And then do what? Divide. Okay. How many times is 4 going to 14? 3.
37.
Goes into 28 7 times. Okay.
Do you have today's ones?
A copy of it? I don't. I will. Do you want to go make a few copies real quick? Because I had quite a few students. No. I would make like 2, like 5 or 6. No, make 6 copies. Thank you. Okay. Determine the total surface area. I am finding the area of every what? Surface. Now, this is a little bit different than yesterday's. Can anybody tell me why? What makes this different than yesterday's?
Because
It is a rectangular pyramid.
what was yesterday?
It's not even a rectangle.
Okay. Yesterday, the measurements of the base were the same, which made every triangle the exact same. But now, does this change that? That means this triangle and this triangle are the same, and then this triangle and this triangle are the same. Okay? So, I recommend surface area. When you find the surface area of a pyramid, always start with the base, so you get the base out of the way. Okay, how do I find the area of the base?
10 times 12.
10 times 12. What is 10 times 12? 120. Okay, that's my base. I got my base out of the way. Now I need to do my triangles. All right, so I would do 1/2. My height is 8. My base is 12. Well, 1/2 of 8 is what?
4.
What's 4 times 12? 48. How many triangles do I have with that measurement?
4.
No. This is the base of 12. This triangle and this triangle are the same.
Times 2.
So I have to multiply by 2. 96. Okay, now I have to find this triangle and this back triangle. The height stays the same, so I would have 1/2 10 times 8. Half of 10 is 5. 5 times 8 is 40. How many triangles do I have with that measurement? 2.
80.
Okay. Now I add those together.
You want 76.
Same.
Is it 176?
I don't know.
No,
It's
it's
290.
There's 2.
Yeah. You just did those two. You just did those two. You forgot the 120. Okay. I was about to say, because there's 6, there's 17, 18, 19, and then I have 2. Okay, when I don't have inches, centimeters, y'all remember what you put?
No.
No, it doesn't tell me inches. You just put a U. U for units. Units squared. It's surface area.